Flaming Sword here, back at it again, once again, and today, today, I wanted to showcase this deck profile that I was working on a while back, and I've just preferred this line for deck lists, in my opinion, because it works so perfectly well, to the point it allows you to have answers for metas, and being able to steamroll not only through mirror matches, but steam through Steel Song. So, right now, this deck list is the Ruby Sapphire Sisu on Ice. Now, the only reason that this can handle Steel Song, because it's literally eats it up the matchups. It's easy to win with it, to the point that it's really good. It can handle most matchups. It just needs a perfect hand in order to deal with Ruby Amethyst. And there are times that you have to finish with two big finishers just to seal the deal, because after they used up their removals just to slow you down and try to stall with Queen's Castle, you've already gotten the aggressive Lorcana win. So without further ado, this is the deck profile I wanted to showcase. 11 1-drops, so I run 4 copies of Develop Your Brain, which works because it allows you to look at the top 2, put 1 into the hand, 1 at the bottom. I like it because it's more of card manipulation, to where I can get the answers that I need in the right timings, and able to think about 2 to 3 turns ahead. I've seen some Ruby Sapphire builds remove that completely, but I think it's still good that you really need it. I also run 3 copies of Ice Block. I was running that too, and there were times that I needed that third Ice Block to get rid of a character that had a very high strength, that there was just one more -1 that allowed me to banish it straight away without having to go through combat damage, without going through challenging and everything. So the final 4 1-drops I run, which is the MVP that you really want to start out with, is 4 Popsicle. Really good, draw a card as it comes in, and sacrifice it to heal 2 damage, which can really help out, but you really don't need to use that second ability unless you have a way to cycle it, which in this deck you can easily cycle the Popsicles without needing that second effect, to the point you could just go combo off. For 2 drops, I run 2 Chichas. I was running at 3, but it's very clunky. The only reason I'm running 2 is because there are easier ways to get rid of it, such as like Brawl, let the Storm Rage on, fire the cannons, ba-boom. Any with damage base can easily just get rid of her without much anything. And especially if I'm making the deck too high reliant on it. So the reasoning for it is it's a 2-1, which it does have support, so you can move the 2 strength to a character. Also, that whenever you ink a card, if it's your second time, draw a card. So it helps out with like Fishbone Quills and other stuffs. So for example of like running 3 1-jump aheads, I was at 4 and dropped it back down to 3. There were times that I only lost the matchup because I needed the 1-jump ahead. But now with set 5, because of Shimmering Skies, we were also introduced with Cheapo, which I do run 4 copies of. Growing Sun. I love this little guy. This guy just allows you to ramp aggressive. So, like, your turn 1 can be... The God one you want to do is turn 1 Popsicle, turn 2 Chicha, and then a turn 3 of either Tipo or a 1-jump ahead, and being able to get 4 ink on turn 3. And then when it gets you 4 ink on turn 3, and then on your turn 4, you can play like a Maui, a 5-cost character, on turn 4 instead of turn 5. The final 2-drop I run is 2 introducing as well, 4 copies of Vision of the Future. Love the card. It's basically like a Develop Your Brain, but instead of the top 2, you look at the top 5 to add 1 to the hand and the rest on the bottom. I prefer this. There are some decks that run it at 3, or just run it at 2, or just get rid of it completely, because they rather rely on the card draw. But I don't like that, in my opinion, because by making it more card draw, you're more hoping praying for RNG to be in your favor, to where you just lose the game because you could not draw the answers that you need. So I also run, for 3 drops, I run 4 Brawl, which can banish a character with 2 strength or less. Really helps out with Ice Block. 100% helps out with Ice Block, because then you can -1 a character that has 3 strength, make it 2, then Brawl. It just... Ice Block allows you to manipulate the strengths of your opposing characters by significant amount, to where you can just have the better advantage. Also running 4 copies of Fishbone Quill, which when it comes in, which the moment you play it, you can tap it to ink it additional time, which is mainly a continuous card draw synergy with Chicha. So when you have Fishbone Quill out and Chicha, basically every time you ink a second time, Chicha will trigger and allow you to draw an additional card, so you can replace the 1 card that you just inked away from the Fishbone Quill that you didn't need it for that extra card draw. I also run the last 3 drops are 2 copies of Sisu Embodied Warrior. I've seen the other ones that were running the other 3 drop Sisu, the one with evasive, and whenever... Yeah, the one that when it comes in, it can banish a character with strength 1 or less. I don't like the 1 the quest for 1 with evasive, because the effect is uninkable. There's times in Ruby Sapphire decks they run an uninkable count of like up to like 20 or 22, and heavily rely on the Fishbone Quill. So I made a deck to where I can use the Fishbone Quill, but it's not heavily needed. Also, with this one, it is inkable, so I can ink it right away. It also helps out up against any card draw decks, because it gets 1 strength for each card in your opponent's hand. So they would have to force themselves to dump their hand if they're more of a mid-range or a control deck. Forces them to allow you to utilize everything from it, and just allows you to manipulate it to where you can be like, well, I'm dropping this out, so keep drawing while I get rid of like your locations, or just be able to handle everything. The only 4 drop I run in this is 4 copies of the MVP himself, Hiram Flavisham. This card is stupid. I don't understand why this didn't get errated. Like, I don't understand how Hiram Flavisham did not get errated, but Bucky did. This card is much more stupid because it's a 1/6. It's literally a 6 willpower character. And when it comes in, and whenever you quest with it, banish 1 item to draw 2 cards, like, it's stupid. It takes so much to get rid of Hiram. I mean, there is, like, Brawl and everything to get rid of it. But if you're not running Ruby, it's really difficult for you to get rid of it easily. So enables that extra card draw. I do also run 4 copies of Maui, which is your 5 drop that is really good. So if the opponent have a location like the Queen's Castle, or my apologies, like running like the library or the Queen's Castle with Chicha, I would just quest it with the Chicha for 1, plus 2 strength into Maui, making him an 8/5, which can allow you to one-shot any location without wasting too much of your own characters. I am a little 6, but we're making this through. For 6 drops, I only run this one and only 2 copies of Mountain Medusa. I tried 3, but it's very situational. I run it at 2 because I'm trying to make it to where I'm trying to finish the opponent off and not too reliant on control. So this helps out, especially if you have characters that are high strength, and you can use like a 1 ice block, minus it, make it 3 strength or less, Mana Medusa, banish it, and just manipulate a lot, which gives you a better removal options. Next up, for 7 drops, I run 3 B preps as your board wipe, because I tried with 4. It's very situational. It's very clunky in the hand, so I rather run 3, so that way I still see the B prep at the appropriate time frames, and not too much to worry about. The final one I run is 2 Lucky Dime. Lucky Dime is your one way to close out the game, and if you have both of them out, GG's. Like, there's nothing you can do, because then I could just play a character that has a high questing cost. Like, this 1 copy I run is the 8-drop Mufasa. As the Mufasa will come in, exert all your ink, shuffle, your opponent chooses 2, and those go into your hand. But with the Lucky Dime, if you have a character like this that can quest for 4, paying 2, activate Lucky Dime, gain 4 lore, activate, gain another 4, and then quest with him. And whenever he's quested, you ready your ink. So it allows you to have a very big finisher to where you can just do all that. The Sisu that I run is 3 copies of the Empowered Sibling, which it can work if you're up against like a hyper aggro deck. You can just have the 3-drop Sisu out, ramp it until you get to the 6 ink, and then shift to the Sisu, banishing them all. All the characters that are strength 2 or less. And on top of that, you can do like an ice block to manipulate it. So if they have a character with a 3 strength character, while everything else is a 2 strength or less, you can make that character -1 strength, then the Sisu, clear the board. Clear your opponent's board while yours is still intact, and allows you to use the Lucky Dime to just gain the lore aggressively as your big finisher. Your final big finisher is 4 copies of Tamatoa, so shiny. Because when it comes in, and whenever you quest, you can add an item from your discard pile to your hand. And for every item in play, you gain 1 lore. So the essentially of the loop is just basically to sack the Popsicle, 8 for Tamatoa, add the Popsicle, play it again, draw a card, and on top of that, you can use like Hiram to comes in, Aura Quest, sack the Popsicle, draw 2, Tamatoa, add the Popsicle, play the Popsicle, and then you just basically quest it with the Hiram on the next turn, sack the Popsicle, draw 2, quest with Tamatoa, add the Popsicle, replay it. It's essentially a card draw loop in a sense. It's not entirely like infinite, but it can lead to a very big finishing win and force your opponent to, because by the time they wasted their answers trying to get rid of your stuff, you are already able to just gain the control and win off of it. The final card I run is only 3 copies of the Dragon, Maleficent Dragon. And it just comes in, banish opposing character. It's just basically good. Normally you would run the Dragonfire, which is like 5 cost, but the problem is it's uninkable, and this is inkable, so if it's in the hand early on, just ink it right away, and just get the aggressive gain to get what you need. So that's pretty much it for mainly of this deck profile. This deck is just very straightforward, but it's a lot of fun. I would highly recommend this to anyone that is it's jumping into the game and don't know what to really exactly build for competitive. If you love Ruby Sapphire, go straight for it, because that is your best bet out of them all. You can understandably get Steel Song, but you would have to understand the combo lines and everything. Emerald Steel you can pick up, which is now becoming popular again, and I'm proud of that. But you have to understand the matchups in order to get the full understanding of of Emerald Steel. While Ruby Sapphire, you don't care much about it. You're just trying to ramp it to eventually get to your board wipes and just run away with the game. With you able to control, then stall, control, and just run away with the game afterwards because they wasted a resource trying to get rid of your stuff while you're able to get rid of their stuff a little bit quicker and easier. So, hope you guys enjoy this. Comment down below for other deck profiles you want to see or any other 2-color combinations that you wanted to see. Smash that like button if you are able to enjoy this. Click on that subscribe button and click on the bell to never miss a single video. So, Flaming Sword here, I'm out.